because I find it quite funny that you'll have these people posting on social media telling you to get off social media, which, yes, they have a point, and it can contribute to anxiety and depression and loneliness. But I find it ironic that they're making content on social media telling you to get off social media. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's 2025, and this is the first video of the year that I'm going to post. And I wanted to do a new series. Initially, what I originally wanted to do with my YouTube channel is every weekend kind of just discuss something that's been on my mind, or an intellectual topic, or something I just wanted to sit and casually cozy up in a corner and talk to you about something that's on my mind, or something I think might help you in your life, or something to think about, I guess. I'm mulling around the ideas of what I should call it. Something that stuck with me is calling it weekend waffles, like waffling on a bit. To be determined. But for the very first video, I wanted to talk about not so much social media burnout, but I wanted to really kind of just sit and chat about, you hear perpetually online people saying, get off social media, you need to delete your apps, you should not spend any time on social media because it's ruining your brain and it's stifling your social interactions with everyone. But I wanted to talk about like a realistic version of what that would look like, because we do live in a modern world, and I don't think it's realistic to expect everyone to just get off social media, because our lives have evolved into this kind of ecosystem where we do see friends, but a lot of us have made some incredible, amazing friends on social media apps. I know I have. Some of my best friends I've met on Instagram. I was never really big on any of the other social media apps, but Instagram I've been on since it was in the App Store, because photography was always kind of my main thing. And I've met some really, really cool people over the years that I never would have if it hadn't been for Instagram, because I think we get really busy these days in this life of hustle and bustle, and we don't always get the opportunity to go out and meet new friends, and it's very isolating. And yes, social media doesn't necessarily make it any better if you're only on social media and you don't hang out with friends and get off of being online, but I think it can be a really great place to meet people who have your same interests, meet people who are into the same art that you do. And to be quite honest, I feel like I'm not alone in the sense that I'm not good at texting. I'm really not. Like if I had a text thread, an iMessage thread for every single one of my friends that I have on Instagram, let's say, that would be a lot of message threads. And with iMessage, I don't know, I guess it's personal, but I mean, how many times have you kind of just like ignored a text message where, your notifications are building up and you haven't responded? And yes, people can send you photographs and you can have conversations, but the one great thing about Instagram, especially because I don't message anyone on like X or TikTok or anything else because it's a bit of a cluster F, but on Instagram, it allows you to be able to connect to all your friends or your family and share your life on your stories, and you're not having to text every single person individually, so you can like share your life and people can interact with you and send you little quick messages just to show that they care, show that they're thinking of you, saying that that's really funny. I think as someone who struggles with like ADHD, I avoid text messages a lot, not because I want to, but it's just because it kind of gets lost in the abyss of having to have like full on conversations about updates of my life on each of these text threads. And I'm somebody who really likes in-depth conversations, like really in-depth 3 hour long, where you just like delve to the bottom of the sea with conversation. That's how I like to talk to friends, and that's done best over a phone call or in person. And so the rest of the time, I'm just not, it's really hard for me to like, stay up to date and interact with everyone who I care about in my life with having a different message thread. And so I think, all the influencers, which is kind of ironic because I find it quite funny that you'll have these people posting on social media telling you to get off social media, which, yes, they have a point, and it can contribute to anxiety and depression and loneliness. But I find it ironic that they're making content on social media telling you to get off social media. So I kind of just wanted to like dig into that a bit. I had made a few notes about kind of just what I wanted to gloss over a bit, but that's the main thing is social media allows it to be easier to update your loved ones and your friends on your life and interact with them without having to have a million iMessages that, you forget. The other thing is, I think it's important that we do have limits on how much time we do spend on social media, because I found that there's just so much content online today and it's all the same. So much of it is the same. In the dawn of social media and Instagram, I used to be so inspired. I could scroll for an hour and there would be new ideas and new photos and new videos when that came out. And I would feel so inspired to do things and to create. And I miss that feeling because I think we're just living in this bubble of saturation where there's 100 ideas and there's 100 photographs and there's 100 travel locations, and everyone is just copying the same thing and doing the same thing. And you see, 20 of the same videos, 20 of the same photographs on your feed. And so we're perpetually scrolling, but we don't get inspired like we used to. And so I do think it's important to put limits on how long we are on social media so we don't get that burnout, because I still think there's so many great things we can be inspired from due to amazing creators, great photographers. And if we see too much of it, it kind of is just like we're numb, It's like eating too much candy. You just get sick of it and you miss the rush that you used to get from something that was beautiful. I mean, I even catch myself now when I'm scrolling and I'll see a picture or a video that I know 5 years ago I would have just sat there for 5 minutes looking at it and just being like, wow, that's amazing and I want to create something as beautiful as that. And now I just scroll because we're just inundated by like too much. And so I think it's good to either limit your time, or another thing that's great is if I just moved my camera, sorry. Another thing that's great is you can mute accounts. If you don't necessarily want to unfollow because you don't want to maybe forget and go back, you can go through and mute the accounts that maybe don't necessarily inspire you as much, or kind of just like limit the content. And I've done this a lot where maybe every couple months I'll go through and mute different accounts or unfollow different accounts to kind of refresh my feed to be something a bit more inspiring, and then I go back and change it. And I think that's something that you can implement into your social media experience, is really kind of cleansing down who you follow to be quality, inspiring content. Sometimes I even have to like mute some of my friends I follow, where if I'm chatting to them, I'll go on their page specifically and look, but just like having it in my feed necessarily, I know it wouldn't be like inspiring, and I would just get too overwhelmed with too much content. But I think that's a really good tool to use, is to mute or unfollow, or try not to just have so many different things that you're following, because there is a plethora of unlimited content that you can follow that's really cool. But if you have too much of it, nothing's really special, and it just kind of, I don't know, falls by the wayside a bit. I think on that topic as well, is it's really important to, I think, mix in content that's really slow. Some creators that make stuff that, is maybe a 3-minute long video, which Instagram's now allowing, or, on TikTok, kind of where you break it up, where it's not just really fast, high paced content. And you can just kind of let your body breathe and enjoy, the content that you're watching, without it being like a flash show in front of your eyes as you're scrolling. Another great point to consider, I think, is maybe not follow so many creators that we could be envious of. I know it can be really easy to fall down the slope of, I'm following this person because they inspire me, but also is their content contributing to inspiring me, or is it contributing to my depression and anxiety of the fact that I'm not living a life like that? Is it bringing me down to where I'm watching this content and I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is inspiring me, and I'll bookmark it because I want to go to that place, or I want to do this thing. But because we're always watching, we may not ever do it. And so I think it's good to take a think a bit, when you're going through and cleansing your list of who you're following, is, does this person's content make me envious or sad or depressed, or does it actually inspire me? Does their content really push and inspire me to want to do these things that I do want to do, instead of just kind of pining away for this life that we're not necessarily trying to get, or maybe we could never have. And I think it's good to be inspired, and it's good to surround yourself with people that are doing better than you, because it uplifts you. But I think that's more so people in your life, and you really should be trying to surround yourself with people in your physical personal life, or even your friends on social media that you don't see that often. If they're really motivating you and a go-getter and really pushing for this great life, that is important to surround yourself with those people. But if it's someone you don't know, and it's kind of just something where they're posting content that's very unrealistic and unattainable, maybe don't. Maybe take a break, maybe push the mute button, or unfollow, because it might not be doing you any good. It might just be harming your mental health, I guess. But yeah, find people that inspire you. There's a lot of really great content creators out there that just live very normal lives, but they bring this wonder and beauty to life. Something as simple as going on a walk, or jumping in the river, or looking at wildflowers in a field. They have this ability to bring a smile to your face and just feel the awe and wonder of how great life can be in its simplicity. And those creators I love the most, because it just gives you a sense of anybody can step outside their door and find the beauty and magic in life and be inspired. So try to find more people like that, you know. It doesn't always have to be following, you know, the hustle culture of, you know, you got to make 5 million this year and this and this. You know, hustle culture can be beneficial, but you can also be lost in trying to achieve something and getting overwhelmed and not actually living your life. So that's important as well. I think the last point I want to touch on is balancing social media with your personal life. And like I said at the beginning of this video, so many of my friends I have met on social media and I wouldn't trade them for the world. But I get sad sometimes that they're not all in the same town, and I really miss them. And I know that we could have so much fun if we were like all together and created some amazing content and just experienced life and went on adventures. But the sad part about living in a world that's connected by the internet is a lot of us are very far away. You know, a lot of us are across the world. But I think this year especially, I want to push really seeing my social media friends more in person, whether that's trying to plan, you know, a weekend getaway where everyone meets at one place, or, you know, trying to avidly make more trips to go and hang out and see the people that I love and care about. Because as much as it's nice to be able to keep up with them online, it's just not the same. It's not the same memories. It's not the same conversations. It's not the same feeling. And we as humans, we do need that in-person interaction. You know, I think we can use social media as a tool to meet people that we wouldn't necessarily be able to meet in person, people with the same interests. But then we really should be pushing to hang out with them in person and, you know, make friend group parties or plan adventure trips with, you know, a big group of friends. And even if it's just once a year, I think those memories can be really important in getting us through, you know, the isolation that can happen sometimes, where we get busy with work and don't have much time for the real world because we're all just trying to kind of survive, you know. We get lost in, especially with this economy, I know it's a lot harder to have time to be social and have the money to go on trips, but just don't get lost. Don't get lost in only keeping your friends at an arm's distance on social media, and allow yourself to have human interactions and human connections in real life, because that's important as well. So that's, I think, mostly what I wanted to talk about. Sorry for my waffling on, but I hope you enjoyed the first installment of my weekend waffling, because I just thought it would be fun to sit down and have a chat and, you know, kind of talk about things in life. And I feel like there's too many videos about the title being, this is how you should live life, or this is how you should organize, or this is how you should be on social media, or this is how you should diet or work out. And life is a lot more nuanced than that. I don't think life is ever black and white. And, you know, some topics require just like a curious conversation, a curious chat about kind of how to realistically go through this modern life while still trying to stay true to being a human and humanity and kind of what we need on a base level. But yeah, I hope to see you guys next week. I'm going to be doing this every weekend. I'll have some other random topic to talk about. And I hope you join me. So if you've stayed this long to the end of this video, I love you so much, and it really means a lot. And it would mean even more if you hit that subscribe button. But if not, no worries. I still love you, and I appreciate you watching till the end, and I will see you next week.